Alright, let us look at the properties of rational and irrational numbers. The standard is MGSE 9 through 12 and RN3. Explain why the sum or product of rational numbers is rational, why the sum of a rational number and an irrational number is irrational, and why the product of a non-zero rational number and an irrational number is irrational. Okay, we know that rational numbers are those which are of the form of a fraction like m over n, where m and n are integers, n is not equal to 0. For example, 2/3 or 1/5, or for that matter just 7. 7 is also a rational number because 7 divided 1 is 7. And irrational numbers are those which cannot be written as a ratio or a fraction, that is square root of 2, square root of 10, or pi, any number which cannot be written as a fraction, that is irrational. Okay, let us look at the first part. The sum or product of rational numbers is rational. Okay. The first one here, let me take basic fraction like 1/2 plus add 2/5. You know, 1/2 is a rational number and 2/5 is also a rational number. Adding them together, that gives us 10 is in the denominator, so 2 can divide 10 5 times. 5 times 1 is 5, plus we know that this the least common multiple, it was 10, and now 1/2 is nothing but 5 over 10 plus 2/5. I need a denominator 10, so 5 divides 10 2 times 2 times 2, that is 4. So your sum is 9 over 10, which is a rational number. Likewise, any two numbers you add, if you want to add 3 plus 1/3, what is 3 plus 1 over 3? That gives you 9 plus 1, 10 divided 3. 3 is a rational number, 1/3 is a rational number, 10 over 3 is also a rational number. Similarly, you multiply the same thing. Let us multiply and see. 1/2 times 2/5, which is 2 and 2 cancel, 1 divide 5, or I can also write 2 times 2 over 10 here, that is 1 times 2 is 2, and 2 times 5, that is 10, 2 tenths, or you can write 1 over 5 in the same way, which is here it is rational. Then you have 3 times 1/3, which is 3 times 1/3, that is on the top 3, bottom 3. Right, 3 times 1 is 3, 1 times 3 is 3, 3 over 3, which is 1. That is also 1 is also a rational number. So in this clear, so using the above examples, we can understand that rational number plus rational gives you a rational, and a rational number multiplied with a rational is again a rational number. So I'll put it here, rational plus rational equal to rational, and this plus can be subtraction also. Even if you subtract a rational minus rational, gives you a rational number. And multiplication, rational number times rational number is again a rational number. Okay, now what if you include an irrational number in it? For example, let us take 2, which is a rational number, to that add 3. That is, to one rational number we are adding irrational. So what is the result? 2 plus square root of 3. We know 2 is by itself, it is a 2. It is irrational, but square root of 3 is 1.732 all the way. We don't know what is the sum. Therefore, it cannot be written as P over Q. So, this sum of a rational number and irrational number is an irrational number. Like I said, we cannot write it as P over Q. So, rational plus irrational gives us irrational. One more example, you can take, let me have 3/4 here. 3/4 plus pi. 3/4 is a rational number, but this is irrational. And again, this is a big number, 3.14, etc. all the way. And that is 3/4, which is 0.75. On adding those two, we will still get an irrational number. Okay. Let us also multiply and let's see what happens. 2 times square root of 3. 2 is rational times irrational. The result is 2√3, which is again an irrational number. Right? So, similarly, if you multiply a fractional number, let me multiply 5/7 times square root of 10. This square root 10 has nothing to do with the 5. You can just write 5 times square root of 10 divide 7. If you want, you can put a 1 here. So it is still a rational number. 5 times square root of 10 over 7, it's irrational. So we observe that the multiplication of a rational number with irrational is still irrational. So that's what the standard says. So whenever you add or multiply two rational numbers, the product is rational, and the sum of a rational and irrational number is irrational, and the product of non-zero rational number with an irrational is resulting in irrational number. So that's what we have observed here. There are cases where, say, in the standard we didn't see irrational multiplying with irrational, because the result can be a rational number. For example, square root of 2 multiplied by square root of 8 is 2 times 8, that is 16. Both of them are in the square root, so I multiplied and it gave you a product of 16. Square root of 16 is 4. So in this case, you are observing that irrational with irrational gives you a rational number, and it need not be true in all the cases. If this number is 7, for example, square root of 7, the result will be different. That's why we don't use this as a rule that irrational number multiplied with irrational gives you rational. It need not be true in all the cases. But whereas this is always true. Rational number plus rational is rational. Rational number times rational is rational. Rational number times irrational is irrational, or if it is added, also irrational number. Right? Thank you.